Hello and welcome back to the Puncher's Chance podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be having a look back at Jack Catterall versus Regis Prograis at the Co-op Live in Manchester. As well as that, we're going to be talking about the whole rest of the card and what's next for Jack Catterall. So let us know down in the comments or the comment section on Spotify who you want to see Jack Catterall fight next. Now, straight into it, a little bit of a shorter episode today. What did we make of his performance? How good was Jack Catterall against Regis Prograis? At what point did we think, do you know what? This is a good fight?
Yeah, it took a while to get going, I think. The first 3 or 4 rounds were a bit slow, but we said last week Prograis got, I think, the ability to catch him with a big shot. He's a big puncher, and that's what lit the fight, really, was that shot he caught him with the overhand left. And I think it staggered Catterall a bit. I don't think he was massively hurt by it, but he sort of had to take a round or two to recover and come back well.
I think as well. He was a bit shy to throw the combos and the returning shots after that big shot. He was very defensively solid throughout the whole 12 rounds. But when he got hit with that one big shot for like 3 rounds after that, just a little bit shy with that backhand, and then he started throwing it. Surprise, surprise, knocked him down about 3 times.
It seemed like when Prograis was tiring, Catterall then stepped up a gear and went through the motions a bit more, and I think that's, for me, it was a fight of 2 halves when Prograis started stronger. That knockdown, well, was it a punch? Did he fall? It goes down as a knockdown, but then that round 9 this year, what is it with round 9s in boxing at the moment? I don't know, but great performance by Jack Catterall. And when you look at now the sort of fights that are there for him, you've got Liam Parrow against Hitchens in Puerto Rico, which is a weird location to have that fight, but there we go.
Do you think that was because they thought Subriel Matias was going to win, and 100%. They were like, we'll stick him in Puerto Rico?
That's probably one of the upsets of the years, right there.
Yeah.
With Liam Parrow going there and beating Subriel Matias, but he could have the winner of that fight, Teofimo Lopez. Devin Haney's been on social media, and he's tagged Turki Al-Sheikh in that. That could be an incredible fight there, but I think for Jack Catterall now, the next fight for him has to be a world title, because he's so deserving of that moment now.
I think he should push for the Devin Haney fight. I think he could cause Haney issues, similar with what we've seen with Ryan Garcia in terms of the left hook that he was catching with. Obviously, Jack Catterall being a southpaw I think he could cause him issues. I think it'd be a good fight.
Yeah, well, let's see what the man himself, Regis Prograis, had to say. Obviously, he's fought both men. Let's see what he thinks about Jack Catterall.
Jack was just better. That's all. Jack was the better man. I'm not gonna lie. I just feel like he was the better man. He deserves a world title fight. I mean, I think, to be honest, I fought the best of them so far. I think Jack is probably the top I fought. So he definitely deserves the world title next.
So Regis Prograis certainly thinks he's better than Devin Haney. I think the Teofimo Lopez fight makes a lot of sense for the fans. You got a forward-facing fighter. You got a defensive fighter. He's the WBO champ. Catterall picked up the WBO International. That one I wouldn't be surprised if it happens, but I think the Parrow-Hitchens fight is probably the easier way into a world title. I don't mean that in any disrespect to Parrow or Hitchens if he wins it, but they're not quite of the pedigree of Lopez and Haney yet.
I think it's easier as well if that fight happens, that Catterall then gets his world title fight here in the UK, because I think if Hitchens wins, it could be over in America, but I don't think Teofimo Lopez is going to travel across the pond to fight, is he? A lot of Americans
Catterall will go. He'll have to go to America only. But the thing is, with beating Regis Prograis, I think that will bump his stock up a bit in terms of an American audience as well, so it'd make it easier to sell a fight out there.
Would Haney come across? Because I know he's
got Saudi.
He's got to this point in his career now where he's quite disliked by a lot of American fans. Or certainly over-hated, I think, more so than overrated. And possibly it might be you say Saudis, probably makes a lot of sense, but
that's the only
it wouldn't be a bad idea necessarily for him to fight outside of America, because I don't think he has that huge core audience that Tank, Garcia, Shakur Stevenson, etc. have been able to pick up. Might be a smarter option for him.
Yeah, I think it was damaged even more as well after the Haney defeat, because he was quite a defensive fighter anyway, but after he got beat up in that fight, then it probably makes it a bit more difficult. But the Teofimo Lopez one is a good opportunity of happening, I think, because of the Josh Taylor sort of thing of it as well. Obviously, Teofimo Lopez beat Josh Taylor, and I think Josh Taylor's looking likely to sign with Matchroom. So if Catterall could beat Teofimo Lopez and get a world title, then you've got a trilogy fight there then with Josh Taylor again they could do in the UK.
Promoter Ben at it again.
Back at it.
But for Prograis now, mind, he was talking about could go to bare knuckle fighting. There's still a fight there for him, in my opinion, and that's Josh Taylor. Fight him.
I think he moves up. I think he was talking about he's fed up of being skinny. I think he moves up to maybe welterweight if he is going to have another fight. Have a bit better punch resistance. Maybe have a bit more in the tank if you're not quite so tight on the weight. He also, annoyingly, he seemed to hurt his ankle, I think, in that last round, and it looked, a little bit kind of touchy about whether or not he did well to hold on.
I did like it when he went into the corner and said, come on then, come here, because he can really move.
I don't think he needs another fight though. I think he's proved he's done everything he's needed to. He's a 2-time world champion. I don't think there's anything else out there that he could really achieve.
I think the problem is, and it reminds me a little bit of how we were talking about Josh Warrington after Lee Wood and after Kachachi as well, is it feels like he showed enough in that fight that he's still a really good fighter. It was such a high level fight. It was such a thinking fight. They were constantly playing chess with the lead hand. And he was the one who was able to land first and land true and land well. So you can't help but think there's still more to give there. He's not out of it yet, but also, you want them to kind of leave the sport before the sport leaves them, to quote Jamie Carragher. So you don't want him to go in and get hurt. So I think I wouldn't be surprised if he calls it a day there, but I can't help but think there's at least another fight in him out there, surely.
Yeah. You could probably squeeze another fight out of him, but I just don't feel like he needs to do it. I think he's done everything
Even if it's going over to bare knuckle fighting, I think that would be... You still go and watch him, because I really like Prograis as a character, and it just showed after he lost and how much of a personality he's got to congratulate Jack and say, you're the better fighter, go and beat Haney now, I'm your number one fan. I just have a lot of respect for him now, and it's nice as well when a boxer can make that decision outside of the ring to retire.
Yeah.
Not in the ring. You never want that to happen, but yeah, it was just a great performance by Jack Catterall, like we said, and fingers crossed now. It has to be a world title fight next. There's no other fights for him now. And a world title.
The fight was also as well. It was a good christening for the Co-op Live.
Yeah.
It was a good first boxing event in there. 23,500, I think it is.
There
wasn't
that
full. It was about 10,000, but it looks like a big steep stand. Exciting if you filled that place out, and it would take a big fighter to fill it out. But if and when you fill that out, I'm talking a Johnny Fisher, someone of that size and that fan base. That would be some venue, wouldn't it? That'd be some event.
It does look good.
You get Conor Benn, Chris Eubank up there maybe. Or Derek Chisora is rumoured to be fighting in Manchester next, so does he go to the Co-op Live? Who knows? It was a great venue. The UFC went there over the summer and they packed that out, and the atmosphere was brilliant. So
by all accounts as well, it's kind of got big screens on the outside that they can kind of, not quite the Sphere.
Have you seen what I saw with Barry Jones? With the DAZN guy was telling him that he can put his name around.
Yeah, no, I did. See, I briefly listened to it on the way here, but then because they just talked about amateur boxing for the first time, I don't like to listen to stuff about this because then I feel like I'm just going to copy what Andy Clark says because he's far more eloquent than we ever will be. To move on to the next fight, or a fight that didn't happen, Reece Belloti, Michael Gomez Jr. We bigged it up as the fight to watch, fight of the year contender, all of this. And the Puncher's Chance curse has come again because every time we say that, it never happens. And in fact, in this time, it didn't happen at all, did it?
Yeah, I was proper gutted when I sat there watching it and they just announced it. I was like, oh, no way. It was like, that was the one fight I was really looking forward to this weekend. I thought it was going to be a really close 50-50 between the two of them, but you could see how fuming Reece Belloti was with obviously the fact that it hasn't gone through, and he's got a right to do so, really, and you've trained as hard as you have for obviously the British title fight. You could see how much it meant to him, but that's a potential to sell that now even further again down the line, and they could build an whole story around that, so it's an easy sell to get them fighting in the future, I think.
So what happened then?
Should we stick the audio clip up?
Yeah.
And then we can talk about this is I'm going to say this is a very one-sided account of what's happened from Reece Belloti. This is not. This does not reflect the opinions of the Puncher's Chance, all of that. But this is straight from the DAZN stream.
It is 1,000,000% solid here. Bell, you can back what I'm saying here. If you're in that changing room, there is nothing out there that will fucking stop you from fighting. Fact. He has gone behind his team and swallowed the fight. 100% fact. Because in my last fight against Giles, my hand was mashed up. I got told by my physio, don't take the fight, your hands mashed. I said to the boys, I signed to fight, I'm fighting him. I'll do him with one fucking hand, I don't give a shit. Oh, sorry, my team pulled me out. You sound like a pussy. You melted. Back.
Oosh.
So believe it or not, I actually cut a few swear words out of that and condensed it down a little bit.
There was a lot more.
There was a few more, yeah. So that's not the full clip in length. I kind of cut it up a little bit for the younger Puncher's Chance audiences. But it seems what's happened is Michael Gomez Jr. come in, not feeling great, in some pain in the changing rooms. A doctor's come in, said, you're not allowed to fight, you've got a kidney infection, which could possibly most likely be a cause from dropping weight. Losing a lot of water out of your body causes a lot of kidney problems, but it's not a great look. It's a lose-lose situation as a boxer, isn't it, if you don't fight?
When they showed him walking into the arena, he didn't look great then. And then obviously then we were watching the Pat McCormack fight, and then what was it, round 3 they announced that it was off, and you're thinking, well, what the hell? But yeah, we lost potentially fight of the night there, one of the fights of the years there, but I'm sure the start of 2025 now, that fight is massive now, because they've got that build-up now of Reece Belloti saying all that, what he just said. Michael Gomez Jr. hasn't come out with anything yet. No. So does that maybe prove that there was actually something wrong with him and he's just staying quiet?
I think anything he says is gonna come across bad, so I think it's better just saying nothing. It's like everyone criticised Ben Whittaker for not saying anything. It's like, well, what is he going to say in that moment that everyone's going to go, you should have. Of course, it's a lose-lose. You're not. No one's ever going to just suddenly think. I was just having a quick look.
But
so if Reece Belloti gets another fight soon, which he's expected to, that would be his third fight for the British title.
So when it's
he would then be fighting because he won it on the first one. He'd be fighting Michael Gomez Jr. to be able to keep the belt. So it would be a brilliant fight, just all round a great fight.
Yeah, I think they could just sell it really well now in the future. I think early 2025 maybe we'll see that. Hopefully we'll see it, because it's still a fight I really want to watch. So hopefully we can get it on at the start of next year.
From one great fight that never happened to a fight, well, fighters, I just want them to fight 3 or 4 times a year now. Campbell Hatton against Joe Flint, another brilliant fight, another close fight. Gutted for Hatton in a way, but I think he's found his level now, and that's okay, because area English title, he can still climb the ladder. But yeah, this is another setback that he was probably not wanting after joining a new gym with Barry Smith down in Essex, and yeah, it was just disappointing to see. But he didn't look like he improved from the first fight, in my opinion.
I think he done slightly better, but you could still see he was really raw and was way too open defensively, took way too many shots. And
do you know what I think the problem is? And I really respect him for wanting to take the fight that quickly and wanting to, but nothing's going to change in that time period, because when it is a fight, when it's not a boxing match, when it's a fight, when it's a scrap, you reset to factory settings, and it takes so long to be able to build up those habits, those good habits, and take away the bad habits that, no matter who he was with, what he was doing, I don't think it was enough time to correct. And really the problem was, I thought, was Hatton was coming with these big wide hooks, and Flint was just popping it straight through the middle, straight shots. Every time he got to the corner, they were just saying, keep straight shots. And when you throw straight shots from A to B, it's quicker than going from A to B via a curve. So you're always going to land first, and unless those big hooks are really big and are hurting your opponent, you're always going to come out on top if you're throwing the straight shots. And
let's talk about that corner as well for Joe Flint. Josh Padley is from that gym as well. What a year they've had. They've upset the odds twice now. Well, in their case, maybe not upset the odds against Campbell Hatton, but like you said, fair play for Hatton for taking the rematch straight after his first defeat, because surely there's going to be some mental scars there, a bit of nerves, and there was a lot of pressure on him as well. I think he was fighting in his hometown. His dad was there. He gets compared to his dad all the time, which is probably not nice for a boxer, because they're not going to be like their father. But yeah, listen, I think for Hatton now, take some time out. I've heard people say maybe go to America, go around sparring in gyms across the world, and just go and improve and come back, and I think next year now would be very telling for him because he needs a big 2025 now.
I was looking at it, I was thinking a lot of people were saying after Saturday that he could probably headline like small hall shows in Manchester, but we've seen fighters before carry a bit of a name in Tommy Fury who's done Misfits route, and I could see, I don't know whether he'd be interested in doing it, but you know, he got the name of Hatton. I think Misfits are starting like a pro rank. I could see him possibly going
against
into
Dean the Great, Joey Knight.
Do you think he needs to, though?
I wouldn't see him exactly fighting like YouTubers, but like I know they're trying to get more pro fighters in Misfits. I think it's just an easier way with the name to sort of make money from his boxing career.
I think he can still win titles because now Joe Flint's going to hopefully move up to English level, vacates that belt, Hatton goes and boxes for that in the back end of 2025.
Yeah, but do you make more money fighting for Southern area titles or fighting on the zone or Misfits?
Oh yeah,
he's not going to get paid
as probably the headliner with his name.
He's probably going to take a substantial, like the money he's going to get paid for his next fight now is going to be like 50% of what he got paid on Saturday night, and he just has to accept that.
It depends what your motive is, really.
But equally, you would presume he's probably on a promotional deal as opposed to a ticket deal, so he's not. He's not like he's really scrambling like some of these small hall fighters. I think he's fine. I think he's got time to build himself back up, take his time with it. He is still relatively young, I think, as a fighter. So I think he'll come good. I think he'll win an area title. I think he'll probably win an English title, and will certainly have an English title fight in the future. I just don't think. I think it looks bad because you got 2 losses in a row at the same level, but I just, as much as I can completely understand why he did it, I don't necessarily think it was the right fight to take. Mm-hmm. But I don't think you also could have convinced him otherwise.
Because let's not forget, his opponent Flint, he's already had another fight since that rematch. Since the first fight, sorry. So he was coming in warm and all that. But yeah, you just, like we said, you have to give him props for just going back in there with him. Because whoever gets their first professional loss in their career, a lot of people, they won't touch that guy until they've gone and had a couple more learning fights and then they rematch him. But to do that in a co-op live where it was pretty much full, that arena at that time, because obviously Bellotti and Gomez Jr.'s fight was off, so just you gotta respect him. And for all the people there saying, oh, he should retire and all that, come on now, let's not beat around the bush. The guy's decent, he's just had some setbacks and he's found his level now, and that's where he has to improve on. And there's nothing bad being a central area winner or being at English title level. They're big levels in boxing, and yeah, just for me now, Campbell needs to take time out the ring. I would go around America sparring people, learn more from the sport, and yeah, come back in 2025, have a couple more learning fights, and then get the trilogy with James Flint, because I think that is a fight that I wouldn't mind seeing. But it's just another good fight for him.
It was a good fight. On the kind of opposite side of that, Pat McCormack, 10-rounder, first fight in I think 15 months against a tough Argentinian, got the job done, had a head cut.
Tough
because he's Argentinian.
Every time he touched his his shorts, he was going down it.
He didn't go down once.
He did he? He went, not knockdowns, but he was going down.
Yeah, well, he didn't go down,
and he was showing not a lot of heart in that, you know. He was going down. It was quite laughable.
I thought McCormack looked very good, considering he'd been out of the ring for 15 months.
I thought he looked very good, but I think to say you went 10 rounds with an Olympic silver medalist who's got a high knockout percentage, to call him anything but tough is seems a bit harsh.
He's sure that, he was going down half the time, but it is what it is.
Good away fighter, good journeymanship. Go the distance. Tricks, that's what you got to do.
Yeah, but like you say, he's an Olympic medalist, been out the ring for 15 months. He just needs to get some momentum in his career now. But that cut he sustained on Saturday night is going to put a halt to that again. He just needs to start, because he's 29, I want to say, so he's quite old in terms of.
No.
So he needs to start. His next fight now has to be another step up, like Saturday night was. Is that Conor Walker?
I was going to say I'd like to see him face the winner of Conor Walker and Lewis Ritson.
I like that fight. I like that fight a lot.
Because them two are two tough fighters, like very good. Every time you watch them, they're in a good fight, and I think that'll be a good test for him. Obviously, he's still probably going to need another fight to sort of get the ring rust off before he goes into a fight like that, but I think that would be his step up and test himself a bit. Yeah,
it'd be a good fight. It like you say, but equally I think, this when you're looking at your 5th fight, you're still talking about learning fights, and to even be doing a 10-rounder, let alone your second 10-round in your 5th fight, says a lot about his pedigree. But I think it's just a great learning fight. You know, you'll learn more from that than you will smashing out someone in a round or two and looking
someone who
great.
found out that they were boxing the day of or the night before. Yeah.
So I think he's doing all the right things. He's moving all in the right direction.
And he's got probably one of the best coaches in Britain in his corner in Ben Davidson. So
that always helps, doesn't it? You know, I think he's set up. We see a lot with Olympians. You put such high pressure on them. You know, the likes of Joe Joyce. There's plenty of other names.
Clark.
You know, Ben Whittaker, for example. That these guys that people put huge amount of pressure on. Oh, these guys are going to be multiple world champions. They're the best of the best, and sometimes they are, and sometimes they're not. And that it doesn't mean they've had a bad career necessarily. It just means they were a very good amateur and maybe not quite such a good professional. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes. I always like to watch an Olympian just because will they fulfill the crazy potential that we always put on them for whatever reason, because it is a different sport.
Completely.
Amateur and pro is different levels really, and a all different sort of game. But it'd be interesting. I think he like we said, just needs that step up now and test yourself against the higher caliber, see where he is in terms of because a lot of decent fighters in those rankings.
Yeah, absolutely. Elsewhere on the card, Junaid Boston, 10-0 now.
What a shot.
Some fight, some shot. From the second he moved over to Southpaw, he just looked phenomenal, didn't he?
There's no better shot in boxing than a body shot, is there? Let's be honest. Just that left to the body.
I think we said the same last week, didn't we?
Yeah, and a couple about a month
it's every
ago
week
when
now,
it was,
but it's the best shot in boxing. Because I saw somewhere that you can feel it. I know it's a bit stupid to say, but when you're watching it, you feel a bit of sympathy for the boxer. And for me now, Junaid Boston, I thought it was quite good that they had Ishmael Davis come in on the post-fight interview they had. That's a fight I wouldn't mind seeing.
That's some step up, Mike, considering he's just been in a 12-round fight with Josh Kelly.
I think Junaid Boston, he's got the confidence and he's got the...
They won it for a British title, didn't they? So
he does look so confident in it,
does.
doesn't he? Like when he's in the ring, he just doesn't even look like he's fighting. It looks like sparring. He's just very comfortable.
He's been sparring some really good fighters as well. Because he said
he's
been sparring with Caleb Plant, who's just obviously come off the back of a massive win himself. So
and just a small amount heavier than him. He's 2-3 weight classes up.
Yeah, but imagine how much you would learn from those sparring.
That's why they do it.
Yeah,
his confidence is building. If he can get in there with Ishmael Davis and pick up a win against him, that's a massive statement and would push him hugely up the rankings. So it'd be good. And then you could look at like Josh Kelly, for example, and obviously he beat Ishmael Davis as well, so you could just start building up and really making a name for yourself. And I'm looking forward to seeing him back in the ring.
Yeah, I sometimes think the whole switching stance thing can be a bit gimmicky, but to be able to do it in terms of start off the fight well, you're winning, and go, actually, no, do you know what, if I switch, I could probably make this better, and then just smashing him out of there. He found that body shot, and he didn't neglect the body at all. He just really kept hammering at it for the second and third round. I think he caught him with a good one and knew, if I just keep working away at this, it'll come soon.
And it came.
And it did come out.
Bloody
it's
hell.
A revolting shot.
Do feel, when you watch it, you do feel like, that must hurt. And
it is I can imagine it's a horrible, horrible feeling. But it's what you should be doing if you want to get finishes. No fighter at the top level who gets a lot of finishes neglects the body, because if you just target the head, it's really quite easy to defend a lot of the time because you just keep a high guard. So you've got to keep mixing it up, keep going upstairs, downstairs in sort of batches, hurt them to the body, hurt them to the head, and then finish them off with a nice flash shot like that. It's always good with a one shot as well, isn't it? When it's that one shot that drops them. Really impressive. Elsewhere on the card, Will Crolla, 50-second knockout. Not bad, is it?
That's 5 in a row now, and talked earlier about getting someone that could headline that co-op live in Manchester. I think he could be potentially in the future headlining a show there, because obviously being a Manchester boy, he's going to sell very well, and he looks so good, like such a powerful puncher. 5 stoppages in a row. He's like, obviously it comes a point where you're probably going to have to start building up the rounds and testing yourself a bit, because you don't want to get stuck in a tough fight and not know where to go from with it. But yeah, I thought he was very impressive again, and I'm sure it won't be too long before we see him back in the ring.
November 30th, get him out again, I say, because he didn't take no damage. 50 seconds, like you said. Why not?
Yeah,
get another learning fight.
Yeah, it makes sense because all you're really learning at that point is your camp and your team and everything like this. So
that's the fun bit. That's the easy part. Is the fight.
I don't know about the easy. I thought you did the fight. I thought you were
Yeah.
saying the camp is the easy bit. I was like, oh,
that's the hard bit where you learn and you
Yeah.
find yourself, and the fighting is where you have fun and get paid. But yeah, fair play. What a shot as well.
yeah. It was. I thought in general all over. I didn't watch all of it live. I moved. I sort of stopped watching and then caught up on Saturday. But I thought it was a great card, sort of from top to bottom. Really enjoyable, and I say that because people have been criticising a lot domestic shows, particularly Queensberry, or the lack thereof of boxer shows have been criticised a lot, and I think that is an example of a great domestic show that can still be put on and still, be enjoyed.
Yeah, from top to bottom, even with like the Stephen Clark fight, Joe McGrail fight, Emily Whitworth, all really good fights to watch. Like Clark was in a bit of a tougher test. He got caught with some big shots, but like those type of fights are the ones you need at the start of your career. You learn a lot from them, so yeah, it'll benefit every fighter that was on our show, obviously, to be in a arena like ours as well. So yeah, it was a really good show to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that wraps it up for, like I said, a little bit of a shorter episode today. We've got a few things to do later this afternoon, but before that, just follow us on Instagram, follow us on Spotify if you prefer the audio versions, Twitter, all that good stuff, and then catch us later in the week where we'll be previewing next weekend's fights with the big Queensberry show. Liam Davis on that one. So thank you all for listening. We'll catch you all later in the week.
But punches chance. Punches Chance Podcast.